Hello everyone, I am Julian Morris with the Channel 5 News. In the headlines, organizer of the Mama and the Papa Creole events want the government to do more to facilitate exposure of local music overseas. The Electoral Office reassures the public as reports emerge of a digital list of electors online. And a trade union leader here believes freedom of information laws would strengthen democracy in Dominica. The details of the news coming up.
Craft is a certain art that creates expression, and one of the things that we do as craft persons, we transfer that expression of self, that expression of value into our products. It's like coming from within, coming from everything that I have and feel, and then it comes out perfect. It's been over 18 years since I've been involved in craft. And it's all through experimenting with different materials, different products. I use a lot of vegetable tanned leather, which is the rawhide, to do my craft. And I get the opportunity to decorate it and to bring out my creation and my spirit within the craft. The work is generally handmade, and that is the unique and authentic thing about craft, is that there's your fingerprint, and a lot of people appreciate the fingerprint of the artist. One of the greatest joys is actually seeing a satisfied customer, especially for a unique piece, and they're like, yes, that is for me, and that is mine. That is really a joy. I am proud to be part and parcel of this big engine that fuels the island and the tourism industry. My name is Vanessa Lisa Winston, and I am happy that tourism is my business.
Here are some tips to reduce mosquito presence in and around your home. Keep water storage containers properly covered. Remove containers that can collect water from your surroundings. Keep garbage bins tightly covered. Pick up your litter and remove all tires from your yard. Keep gutters free of leaves and twigs to prevent stagnant water. Prevent Zika, dengue, and chikungunya. Fight the bite. This is a public service announcement from the Dominica Red Cross.
This message is supported by Flow. First up in the news, a flash flood watch went into effect for Dominica from 6 p.m. on Thursday. The warning was issued at midday Thursday by the Meteorological Service. The Met Service issued a flash flood watch for Dominica from 6 p.m. Thursday to 12 p.m. on Friday. A trough system is projected to generate an increase in cloudiness and shower activity and possible isolated thunderstorms across Dominica, mainly from Thursday night into Friday. This activity is likely to be moderate to heavy at times. Current rainfall projections during the period are between 3 to 4 inches. People in areas prone to flooding, landslide and falling rocks should exercise extreme caution during the period. Those in areas which have been experiencing excessively dry conditions over the past months should be especially mindful of landslides and rockfalls. Dominica's tourism master plan is being tweaked into alignment with the country's climate resilient vision. Andrea Louis reports.
Dominica is wrapping up its observance of Tourism Awareness Month, which is observed annually in the month of May. Tourism Awareness Month aims to sensitize the public on the importance of tourism and its impact on the everyday lives of citizens. Minister for Tourism and Culture, Robert Tong, says the ministry has reaffirmed its commitment to developing the country's tourism product in keeping with the country's climate resilient vision.
The Ministry of Tourism and Culture reiterates its commitment to the development of the Dominica's tourism industry through a dynamic national policy and master plan, which are currently being revised to become the world's first climate resilient country. I encourage all of us to be resolute in our quest to realize this goal and to work closely to protect and preserve our unique natural and cultural assets.
During Wednesday's awards ceremony, the Tourism and Culture Minister also took time out to say farewell to Karen Prevost, who will be leaving her post as a permanent secretary in the Ministry of Tourism and Culture and joining the Ministry of the Environment.
So tonight is a celebration, but at the same time, it's a sad time for some of us in the Ministry of Tourism. We have a wonderful PS by the name of Karen Prevost. Unfortunately, she'll be moving to another ministry, so I just want to tell her thank you very much on behalf of myself, on behalf of all of the staff for the amazing work that she has done for tourism. You will be missed, but however, we have had a great relationship with the Ministry of Forestry and Environment, and this is the ministry that she's going to, so I think the synergies will continue, and we look forward to working with you and with the new PS.
Chief Cultural Officer Raymond Lawrence also commended Prevost for her work in the Ministry of Tourism and Culture.
The Ministry of Tourism can assert itself as being even more organized as it was challenged by you to think and implement differently with a diversification of work portfolios and work processes, as evidenced by the renewed focus on cultural and heritage aspects of our tourism sector and structural changes within key stakeholder institutions. The Cultural Division can attest to the heightened focus and importance given to culture under the guidance of Ms. Prevost, as manifested by the number of cultural infrastructure projects currently being implemented. Likewise, the Discover Dominica Authority and the Dominica Festivals Committee can confirm Ms. Karen Prevost's engaging personality and good interpersonal skills that have fostered good working relations and teamwork among the entities.
And an increased marketing budget and improvements in air access are on the cards for Dominica's tourism sector. The announcement was made by Director of Tourism Colin Piper when he addressed the Tourism Awareness Month Awards ceremony on Wednesday.
I want to let everyone know that there are, in fact, good things in store in Dominica on the tourism horizon. With the advent of the new properties, Dominica is grabbing the attention of the media. With the third-party endorsements, the awareness and interest in visiting Dominica will increase, and the visitor arrivals will also increase to the benefit of all. Coupled with the increase in supply of room stock, we have a commitment to a marketing budget that will allow us to increase our promotions. And we are also working on incremental improvements to the air access into Dominica. And for resident stakeholders, there are many opportunities to continue making a living in the tourism industry. From the construction boom currently underway, with new and refurbishing works, to all the ancillary services that will be needed once the properties come on stream and occupancy levels increase.
Piper commended all tourism stakeholders for getting Dominica back on track in such a short space of time following Hurricane Maria. He said the international community had been taking notice of Dominica's achievements and the good work must continue.
The regional and international press have taken note of our collective efforts and have recognized Dominica over the past 12 months. Dominica, and by extension its accommodations and its magical experience, has received accolades from the UK Telegraph, from National Geographic, from Caribbean Journal, and from Matador.com, to name a few. These accolades are testament that the collective efforts of all tourism stakeholders who work tirelessly to get the sites and attractions open, to host a cruise ship 100 days after Hurricane Maria, who have taken our room stock from 27% of pre-Maria rooms right after the hurricane to now close to 60%, are in fact acknowledged and recognized.
In other news now, the Electoral Office is reminding the public that the physical copies of the Register of Electors produced by the Electoral Office are the only legitimate source of elector information available in the country. The Electoral Office has been reacting to reports of an online publication of a document purporting to be a list of electors which has not been authorized or issued by the Electoral Office. In a statement issued this week, the Electoral Office says it does not publish, sell or release for any reason digital copies of the Register of Electors. Only physical copies of the lists are ever released as required by law. The Electoral Office also advises against the replication of lists purchased from or issued by the office. Registered electors are urged to refer to the published Register of Electors and any subsequent supplementary lists in their respective polling districts, or speak with the assistant registering officers in their communities and constituencies to ensure that they have queries addressed with the most up-to-date information regarding their status as duly registered. The Electoral Office, under the direction of the Chief Registering Officer, that's the Chief Elections Officer, is the only entity empowered by law to collect, guard and produce elector information.
We want to make it exceedingly clear that our systems have not been compromised, and any elector information released digitally in the public domain did not come from the voter management system used by the Electoral Office. As required by law, electors' lists are published and posted in all polling districts, and the public asked to scrutinize the list and bring any areas of concern to the attention of the Electoral Office. The digital reproduction of the list is something that the Electoral Commission and the Electoral Office have given consideration to from time to time. However, there is recognition that one key factor is the security of any list produced or any online publication of the list. But it is not something that has been dismissed outright. We continue to look at implementing this once we have the appropriate legal framework and the technologies in place.
You're watching Channel 5 News. We'll have more after this.
Persons with TB sneeze or cough, healthy persons nearby breathe in the droplets and the bacteria can lodge in their lungs. People with weakened immune systems such as HIV/AIDS, alcohol and drug users, smokers, children, and the elderly are most susceptible. Persons with a cough should take precautions when in contact with persons in public places. Cover your mouth when sneezing and coughing. Visit your doctor or health center. You must complete your treatment. TB can be cured even with HIV. Be responsible. Help stop the spread of TB and HIV. Protect yourself and others.
And Papa Creole organizer Leroy Wadix Charles has appealed to the authorities to engage other countries at government level to create opportunities for those countries to feature Dominica's music during their festivals. Charles made the call during a news conference at Flo's conference room on Wednesday to announce what he says is a national event. Papa Creole will pay tribute to Gordon Henderson, who is currently on a world tour celebrating 50 years in the Creole music industry. Gordon's performance here is part of the Caribbean leg of that world tour. Papa Creole is planned for June 15, Father's Day weekend. Organizers say it's an opportunity to celebrate fathers. This show is scheduled for the forecourt of the Windsor Park Sports Stadium. Flo Dominica is among the proud headline sponsors of the Papa Creole show. Gordon Henderson received his first official recognition in Dominica during the 2012 Creole in the Park, when Flo Cable and Wireless awarded him the Creole Lifetime Award. Flo Dominica's marketing and corporate communications executive for Dinah Frampton says she's hoping Papa Creole would become an annual event. Leroy Wadix Charles says he joined with Val Cuffey to come up with the concept of the Papa Creole concert while reflecting on the recently held Mama Creole concert, which featured 40 years of Ophelia's music career. Cadence legends Midnight Groovers, Bouillon pioneers WCK, and Cletus Halibut Abraham of Bell's Combo fame are all expected to perform at the event. And the 40th anniversary of the May 29, 1979 unrest in Roseau has quietly come and gone, but how much has changed since then in terms of the determination of Dominicans to protect and defend their rights? It is reported that at least one journalist was held for an hour during the events in Roseau when one young man was killed. The Defense Force opened fire on civilians protesting proposed legislation which they believed would seriously infringe on their right to free expression. The proposed legislation meant that trade unions could no longer take strike action without giving notice to the authorities in advance. Press freedom was also challenged. 40 years on, and in the context of upcoming elections, Channel 5 News asked Curtis Augustus about those lingering questions.
the militancy that was a feature of the unions in the 70s and the 80s is no longer so today. And that, in fact, is unfortunate, because the unions are there to defend the rights of workers once those rights are infringed upon. I have to say, unfortunately, most of the decisions of workers today are, in fact, determined by the political environment that we are operating in. And I must say that you have the situation where the membership of trade unions split because of participation in the various political organizations that exist in Dominica. I have no difficulty in terms of people exercising their rights when that right is determined by a political election. You have the right to vote for the party that you support. What we want to say is that the unions are always there to represent you and your interests, irrespective of which political organization is in power. And people have got to understand that. I have seen in other countries where people have supported their political organization, yet have taken industrial action against that, because they say the rights that they have to enjoy cannot be abrogated by the political affiliation that they have. And I would say that in Dominica, that should be the case. You are free to support the organization, the political organization of your choice, but you must understand the difference between a political organization and a trade union organization. And you must understand the difference in terms of the functions of both.
In the last 40 years, it does not appear that discussion surrounding legislation that supports a free press has made any measurable progress.
That was then the Seditious Undesirable Publication Act. That was passed, what we called at the time the Hush Your Mouth Bill. The journalists, I think, should have learned from that experience. I recall when I had the opportunity to speak to the journalists in terms of a keynote address, I advised and asked that they push for the Freedom of Information Act. And that would make it easier for them to be able to carry out their functions. We don't have that, and I think it is a challenge for the media personnel, because your freedom to get information cannot be restricted by persons who have the information and are not willing to disclose it to you, because you have a responsibility to the state, the readers of the state, in terms of trying to find out what is happening in our country at the time that is happening. And if the information is there and it's not available to you so that you could put it in press and you could put it in newspapers, then you are at a disadvantage. And one would have to ask whether in fact that is true democracy in Dominica. If there is information that should be available and you don't have it, then you have a challenge to seek to get it. And you must do what is in your power to galvanize your support so that you could get it.
Here are some tips to reduce mosquito presence in and around your home. Keep water storage containers properly covered. Remove containers that can collect water from your surroundings. Keep garbage bins tightly covered. Pick up your litter and remove all tires from your yard. Keep gutters free of leaves and twigs to prevent stagnant water. Prevent Zika, dengue, and chikungunya. Fight the bite. This is a public service announcement from the Dominica Red Cross.
This message is supported by Flow. To end the news, a look again at the headlines. Organizer of Mama and Papa Creole events want government to do more to facilitate exposure of local music overseas. The Electoral Office reassures the public as reports emerge of a digital list of electors online, and a trade union leader here believes freedom of information laws would strengthen democracy in Dominica. Feel free to contact us at news@mapping2k4.com. You may access our past newscasts on our YouTube channel. On behalf of the production team, I am Julian Morris. Thank you for watching. Join us tomorrow.